Welcome to Start Lines and Swag Bags. The airing of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended to replace advice from professional medical or training staff. Thank you for listening and your support of the Flying Pig Project.
Hello, and welcome to Start Lines and Swag Bags, or better known as, why does it take me 12 takes to get one that I like? Anyway, so on this week's episode, I get to talk to KJ, a member of Fast Track Racing Team. And funny enough, we actually almost sound like a Fast Track commercial at one point. I had been asking him, I think, to be on the show since maybe December. I think I asked him at the holiday party, and if y'all remember me at the holiday party, do you remember anything I said? Do I remember anything I said? All right. So we finally were able to get together. And, okay, I don't rank my episodes, but I have to say this is probably going to be one of my favorites, and I will, of course, tell you why. When we talk about running groups, or we talk about, whether it's Fast Track, Swifters, Alpine, any of these groups, it's you finding the best fit for you. And he and I really did go into about how inclusive we believe Fast Track is when it comes to different abilities. And, he's another one that I watch go zip, zip, zip around the track. And, his words, not mine. Nobody cares what you do at the track besides you. Be yourself. Do your own thing. It's kind of got me maybe thinking I may start to run. I don't know. A couple other things that about this episode. So if you do know KJ, you probably know his mother, Sherry, who's an amazing lady who I want to grow up to be. She's 72, still doing marathons. She's doing Berlin with KJ. And we were able to talk about Sherry. We were able to discuss KJ and the foundation that his parents gave him that led to this truly active lifestyle he has. But when you listen to the way he talks about his mom and his dad and his family, it's so genuine. Like, I'm so glad I was able to talk to him. Couple things though. So I asked him on because he does tries. I didn't realize he's done like 40 to 50 of them. We, of course, got into the kilometer versus mile discussion, of course. We did, I kind of leaked my thoughts on the world majors. Again, everybody's allowed to have an opinion, and that's really the idea, behind this show. And if you don't like my opinion, okay. What's last? Oh, for the record, KJ, I did look up to see if Carmel has a 5K, and it does. That's all I'm going to say. I really hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And if you see KJ at the track, shake his hand, introduce yourself, because he's one of the reasons that I'll keep going back. Welcome to the second episode of season 2 of Start Lines and Swag Bags. Now, I did say a couple times that I'm looking to shake things up a little bit. So this is how we're shaking up today, whatever. Normally, my guest has like a list of questions, or we already know the topics and all of that. This could not be farther from the truth. Now, last week, I branched out and talked to Allie and Larry, who I'd never met before, and that was an interesting thing. But this week, I also have a guest on that I know, but I don't know. So I'm really looking forward to this. But he doesn't know what I'm going to ask, and I don't know what he's going to say. So with that, KJ, welcome onto the show.
How's it going? Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me. It's been a long time coming, but we're here now, so let's get the show on the road.
It actually has been a long time coming. Start by telling us whatever you'd like to tell us about yourself.
I'm KJ Whigham for those of you who don't know me, I run with Fast Track, but mainly I'm a triathlete. I'm a full-time accountant for a company in Barrington, married with two beautiful kids, Xavier and Cassius. And a lot of you might know my mom, Sherry. She runs with Fast Track pretty much every Wednesday and on the weekends. But yeah, I've known Rachel maybe over a year now officially. Kind of started chatting this past year.
So, okay, so like that's the first question. I tend to ask everyone who comes on the show, what do you remember like one particular interaction where, like all of a sudden, people who like kind of know each other, oh, hi, good job. But then something happens and all of a sudden you now become people who talk and who share things and who are now the friends and not just the, hey, how are you? I know exactly when that happened with you. The question is, do you know when that happened?
I want to say at the Fast Track's kids race.
Well,
Yeah, I think you came over because you noticed one of my sons running and you didn't know who I was, or you might have known who I was. Probably you knew my mom, I would imagine.
well, so I knew you because you have run at the track on Wednesday nights. Not as much, and we'll touch on that. I did know your mom, of course. I knew your mom better, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. I don't think it was necessarily at Kids Club. I mean, yeah, we at Kids Night. It was post Kids Night. Do you remember why?
It was a picture somebody took. You had to come over and say that, right?
We got a picture of Cassius.
Yeah.
And your mom really liked, and she explained to me why. And then we told you the story.
Was I putting the bib on him?
No, that was when he was looking up.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, I remember that. That used to be my phone saver. So yeah, I remember the picture. Yes.
And it was a special story. And to me, that's where like the official bonding came in.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I'm glad we've had that moment, and hopefully we'll have more down the road. But yes, looking up mainly because my dad. So I think that's one of those special moments, and especially for his first time going to the run group. So it was kind of a perfect storm of happiness.
It wasn't, and literally, we took the picture and we posted it, and then your mom came up to me and she's like, that picture, and I was like, yeah, I know the picture. I think the picture's adorable. And then she told me the story, and I was like, oh. Okay, I have a question. How long have you actually been with Fast Track?
Oh man, on and off probably for 10 years. I mean, I started with Alpine, if I can say that. But officially, I say more
100%.
consistently within the last like 4 to 5 years, coming to the track and trying to get some more group runs.
Okay, and the reason I ask is so I've been hanging around that group since 2018.
Okay.
And what happened was when I started meeting them, I knew, I think unfortunately when, we were all shut down for the pandemic and track was canceled, I had finally gotten up to knowing like maybe 60 or 70% of the team, which was awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't remember you from before that in any way, shape, or form. And then as we started to come back, I do remember seeing you at the track a lot.
Yeah.
But then, of course, when we came back, and even now, our little team it never was a little team, but it has grown with so many new members.
Which is great. Yeah.
That even when Marty said, I don't know him, I'm like, yeah, you do. Because you and Marty are both kind of like the Wednesday night people.
Yeah.
Once track starts, you guys are both, actually, he does speed workout from the store, but you will now come out starting a week from Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll be there. It just works perfectly with my schedule. I mean, my office is in Barrington. Otherwise, I would love to come out to Schaumburg on the weekends or during the week. But I mean, with the family during the week, it's pretty much impossible. I'd be getting home at 8 o'clock, and I'm pretty sure I'd have some angry people with me. So track is like the one day of the week that I look forward to, honestly. And I mean, me coming home late is not a big deal. So.
All right. So let's put all that aside because I asked you specifically because you don't just run. Now, other people do other things in running too.
Yeah.
But you said it in your introduction. You do, what do you do?
I'm a crazy triathlete. It's almost, I wouldn't say an addiction, but it's kind of like its own cult outside of running. I mean, you got to do all three sports. Nutrition's a huge factor, and you just got to fit it in when you can. And a
How
lot of
many have you
people
done?
can't manage. Oh my gosh. Probably from sprints to Ironman, I don't know, at least 40 to 50.
Oh my God.
I've been doing it for over 15 years, honestly. So it's, the numbers crept up.
Okay. I I didn't expect that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said from sprints to the full Ironman, and this I would like you to educate me and probably a lot
Okay.
of listeners because when
Yeah.
it comes to tries, there I do know there are different. There's a half Ironman, the full Ironman, and you have the
Yeah.
Olympic distance and the sprint distance.
Sprints. There's even a super sprint.
Okay, lay it all out. What do we got? What are the
So
differences?
sprints, basically, for the most part, it's either a quarter mile swim or a half mile swim. The bike's around 12 to 15 miles, and then you're running a 5K. Sometimes they're 4 miles. And then Olympics, double that. You're doing 1500. Yeah, everything's double, Rachel, all the way up to Ironman, which is
Oh.
crazy to, add that distance, but, you just kind of take it in chunks. So I've done Ironman Madison 3 times, and starting in 2009 with the club that I was with, I did a sprint for the first time, and some of them were doing Ironman Madison. I'm like, I'm never going to do that. That's literally half a day. People are taking 12 to 17 hours out there, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then 5 years later, I did my first Ironman, and I've kind of never looked back. And running's just one of those things that I've always been passionate about and I've always been doing. I mean, I'm not a great swimmer, just kind of get through it.
I was gonna say, out of the three, where do you feel strongest?
The run by far, yeah. Then bike, then swim. So I put the most time in, probably in the pool, even though that's probably the shortest distance and the least amount of time. It's one of my weaker things. So it's a lot about form and building up your endurance, getting out of the water safely and not out of breath. And then you can just kind of crush the bike and then hold on to your life for on the run.
Okay, so how did it happen? Excuse me. Oh my goodness.
How did I get into this?
Thank you.
Funny story. So my mom and I started out with Alpine. I mean, she was there probably through high school, and then when I got out of high school, during college, we belonged to the YMCA. And one of our friends, Kristen, was actually a spin instructor at the Y, and she saw us walk into the Y one day and invited us to take a spin class. And granted, I haven't ridden a bike since probably like middle school on like a mountain bike, and I'm like, all right, this can't be too difficult. So one day, one day turned into 2 days, and then week after week we kind of just kept coming back, and it helped strengthen my run. And then probably within like 2 months or so during that summer, she was saying the Y was starting to put together a triathlon club, and I'm like, I have no idea what that is. They invited us to the team meeting, and we started training, and we kind of just got suckered into it.
When you say we,
Yeah.
has it always been you and your mom to do that?
Yeah, we started out together, and she did it for a few years and then focused on all of her running and marathons, but I kind of just stuck with it. I realized I had the talent for it, so I just kind of kept putting in the work. Started out with a used road bike that probably was from like the 80s. And yeah, yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, you got to start small. Like, when you're starting out as a runner, you're not going to buy the most expensive running shoes. I mean, you might, but it's not going to benefit you if you're going to take them out for walks. So, I mean, my parents have always been really supportive of my endeavors and dreams. And he bought me this bike. I started training on it around the house, around the neighborhood. Um, Joined Alpine with my mom, started running with them during the week and on the weekends, started swimming. And the first year, I think I did a couple of sprints. The first one was actually in Batavia. It was a 400-meter swim, 2-loop in this quarry downtown Batavia. Had no idea what I was doing for the most part. I was able to get up and stand and walk half the laps. Got out, took on my wetsuit, hopped on my bike. I didn't have bike shoes. Nothing was clipped in. Had an old helmets. I'll have to show you pictures of it. It's hilarious. But then, like, I got off the bike, run was fantastic, and always after races, especially like in runs, you're like, oh, I could have done this better. Maybe I should change this for next time. And then I signed up for a couple more, and each race is just built on gaining that knowledge. So it's been over 15 years of building that knowledge. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm perfect, but getting there.
I I am writing so much down because, first of all, the episode last week came the introduction of something I call the hot takes wheel, which
Okay.
you will have to participate in as well. And one of the hot takes that came up that I actually threw out there is it's not the shoes.
It's not. It's not. I mean, they help. The carbon plates help if you're utilizing the shoes the proper way and you're not walking with them. They're going to benefit you, and they're going to take less pounding on your legs. You're going to be able to go further and faster. But I think, especially for beginners, they shouldn't go straight to super shoes. It's a sure way to get injured, in my opinion. I mean,
well, that's especially when we're talking about the carbon plated shoes, because you if you're an experienced runner and you put those on, you automatically know the difference how it's going to affect your stride, how it's going to affect every element of your run. If you are a beginner and you hop right into those, you are heading for an injury.
Yeah. And that's kind of where like newbies and tries, they get into the sport and they just go straight for all the expensive gear. They might go to a race with like, I don't know, $100 bike. That's any different. But if you see somebody with a $10,000 bike and some Nike vapor flies and this expensive wetsuit, it's kind of intimidating. And the one thing I like about tries, and runs, it's like a good community. Everybody's really supportive and non-judgmental. I mean, there's some elite people that are, way up here, and they're still super kind to the newbies and the fresh people into the sport. But getting super shoes is not the first thing you want to do, or go out and buy an expensive bike.
So I'm laughing. I'm laughing about so much, and I'll tell you, I'm laughing when you said halfway through your run, you started to halfway through your swim, you started to walk. The reason the reason I find that funny is because there are people listening right now that I guarantee are like, wait, you were swimming and you were walking. Now, several years ago, we had a few people who did the Schaumburg try.
Oh, in the pool, yeah. Done that before too. Yeah.
I learned at that point that you could just get in the pool and walk the distance.
I have seen it. They usually, which is hilarious because they seed you by speed. You like quote your time. You want to do it in like 8 minutes or something for the 400. The first year I did it, the first guy walked the entire length of the pool, and people were just like swimming around him. I mean, he finished it. So, I mean, kudos to him. But yeah, that's why it's good to start small, where if you need a break, you can walking the whole thing kind of defeats the purpose. But
I just think
you do it however you want to. Walk, butterfly, flip on your back. I mean, I flipped on my back so many times just to catch my breath. It happens. So
the whole thing, and I know a lot of people are doing the Schaumburg one again this year.
Yeah.
And because I have recently discovered, actually I discovered 2 years ago when I bought a new bike, when I replaced my 1980s bike that still had the sticker from a store called Galleons, who probably nobody remembers, that I really do like the bike. Actually, I have to say, out of all three activities there, I would bike all the time. Swimming is not my friend. I don't like swimming.
Mine either, Rachel. It's nobody's unless you grew up doing it and just kept it up.
No, I love it. The reason I don't like it is because I am so blind when I take off my glasses. And I'm not going to invest in goggles that have my prescription. Maybe, I don't know. I should really do what's it called? A dual?
You can do duathlon.
That's
just run, bike, run. That's always doable.
Well, I could just find a bike one because
they have bike races. Yeah,
they do.
Or you can do a relay. So you can do the try with the relay. You could have somebody swim. You would hop on the bike, and then somebody could run.
I've heard of that. I think the one in Pleasant Prairie
Great race.
is that system.
Yep. Yeah. 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 They have, I want to say they have everything. They have a sprint, they have a duathlon, they've got a relay, and they've got an Olympic. And that's just across the border. It's close to a lot of people, and it's a good starter race. Honestly, the lake is beautiful.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, but now, okay, so you've gone from the sprint to the Olympic, so we're not going to talk about the water because there's no point. So your bike ride's gone from like 12 miles up to
To
like
24.
25.
Yep.
And does the 5K become the
10K.
10K? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
See, and we're about to point out one of my problems I have with sports. So then you go to the half Ironman.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens to your bike distance?
It goes up to 56. Doesn't
Oh.
quite double, which is
Wait. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Does it go? How many miles is the Olympic?
24.
Okay. Miles.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 24
And
miles.
you jump to 56
Miles.
miles. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And the run goes from
10K to a half marathon.
there we go. And how do we measure a half marathon?
In miles.
Yeah, there you go.
13.1 miles.
I have pointed out, like one of my hot takes, like pick a measuring system.
Right.
I
can agree with you on that one. Yeah.
I'm completely
Pick
good.
miles or Ks. Yeah. Yeah.
But across the board. I mean, because literally, if you're going to do like a 5K, okay, to me, 5K makes sense. Oh, but it's 3.1 miles. Okay.
Yeah.
What? Then just call it a 5K.
Yeah. Well, same with the swim, because like the Olympic distance is 1,500 meters. They don't say it's no miles or anything. So I agree with you on that one. They should just stick to one system and call it a day. Not confuse everybody.
All right. So where were we? Oh, we were okay.
Distances. Hot take.
We had just trashed the distances.
Yeah. We have to write a letter to USAT questioning their life decisions.
Like who is? Yeah. Okay. That's you know what? That's a good question. Hold on.
Yeah.
Who is? Hold on. I gotta write this down. Sorry. All right. Who's responsible for picking the measurements? I mean, I know it happened a long time ago.
the USA Triathlon, but I could be completely off base. But I'm pretty sure there's people that work for USAT that designate courses, measure everything out. So I would assume they pick what measurement they're going to use. So
well, but even I think we have to go back into history, because at some point someone decided, let's do 5Ks, that'll be fun. Let's double it. Let's make a 10K. Yeah. Let's make a half marathon. At that point, it became miles. Because, why not just call it, isn't it? No, a 50K is...
15K is 9.
No, not 15, 50. 15. Oh, that's 30. No, it's 31.
Yeah, 31. That doesn't sound as cool.
Okay.
I'm going to go run a 31K. Because then you'll have people going like, how far is that? And then they'll try and be like, well, 5K is 3 and 10, 6. And they'll try to add it up. So 13.
That's funny. That's exactly right. But the reason I think we should actually do kilometers is for people who are not necessarily, 6, 7, 8 minute pace. If you translate that to kilometers and you're a slower runner, I think mentally it's a little better.
It's easier to track. You're completely right. Yeah.
Of course, then you have people running like a 350 kilometer, and you're like, I don't get that.
Well, the rest of the world uses kilometers, so why should we do that, right?
Okay, dangerous territory there. Okay, so I want to talk to you about your mom for a second.
Yeah.
Let's go back to mom. So you and mom, did Sherry run before you did?
Yes. So when I was in high school, my mom actually got really sick, and she went in remission and started joining Alpine and some other, groups that would do some walk, jog. And then she met some great people at the Y that belonged to Alpine, and she started running. And she dragged me out there on a couple weekends, and I've joined her ever since. But her goal, I mean, her whole running journey was with my dad. They ran everything together: 5Ks, 10Ks, 13.1s, and then they started doing marathons. And I think overall, my dad did probably like at least 10, and then my
Wow.
mom has done probably 15 by now, and she's always wanted to qualify for Boston, and God willing, she did the past year, and we went last year, and it was an amazing experience. And now she's still at it. She got into New York, so she's doing New York this year. She hasn't told anybody yet, and I got it. I Yeah, so I got into Berlin, so I'm doing Berlin this year, and through the group we signed up with, we were able to buy her a bib, so she's going to do Berlin, and now she's just going to go for all of her stars. So, but yeah, she's been running for the past 20 years pretty much religiously, and it's been amazing. I mean, she's in phenomenal shape for her age and makes
Wait.
everybody happy.
So okay, so hold on. Oh, so much there. First of all, I know she doesn't listen, but to any people who know you and mom, you just outed the fact that she's gonna do New York.
Yeah,
Um, but that's okay.
I'm sure
Um,
it'll come out sooner or later.
so okay, how you don't have to answer this. How old's your mom?
72. She just turned 72 this year. Yeah.
Okay, so she turned 72. So you're telling me that she started running in her 50s.
Yeah. Crazy as it sounds. Yeah.
No, I'll tell you, her and Grace, who is in our group, who also
Yeah.
started in her 50s, and I do watch the two of them at the track on Wednesdays, and and then I sit down on the track and I can't get up, and but it's amazing what they do.
Yeah.
It's so inspirational to see them out there.
Yeah.
And
Consistently.
knowing now that it was both your mom and your dad, I do see where you say it ran in the family.
Yeah. It's been amazing. I mean, I look at her and I'm still amazed daily at how well she's still going and how much like joy and passion she still takes from running. I mean, starting in your 50s and still going. I mean, I would imagine a lot of people are like, oh, I've been doing this forever. I've got nothing to strive for. But she always finds new goals, new things to kind of reach for, and she basically achieves everything. And that's like one of my things why I love her so much and look up to her, honestly.
Did your dad run before your mom started?
No, they kind of picked it up on their own. I mean, my dad was always pretty active, but running was never really a thing. And then they just kind of started the journey together and kept it going.
Wow. All right, back to you. Back to them. Did all three of you ever do races together?
Yeah, we did quite a few. A lot of times we swept our age group podium, which is you can't say a lot of people have done that, but yeah, it was always fun, having them around, having them be in the same race, doing the same thing, and then meeting up afterwards and talking about how the race went and how everybody kind of felt, and just supporting each other. I think that's the biggest factor of why I love being active. They were my biggest fans, and I mean, my family now is probably one of my biggest fans as well. But my parents were just awesome.
No, I can't. I mean, I can't even start to imagine the tons and tons of memories that gives you, and then but also how it does act as a motivator for what you want to do next. I mean, it laid such a groundwork for you that you can't do anything else but keep going. That's your only option. You have such a foundation that was built by that.
Yeah, it's been a blessing. I mean, having my mom around still, she's still supportive. She texts me every day. What's on your agenda for today? How far are you running? Are you biking? How is running with Alpine or Fast Track, or how is Barrington Hills? She's always messaging me or calling me and asking how everything's going. So that helps me kind of motivate myself on the days where I don't want to do anything. Or if I've had a long day at work and I'm like totally trashed, she'll text me like, "Oh, aren't you supposed to run 10 miles today?" Yeah, Mom. So she keeps me in line along with my coach. So
All right. Are you going to do? I think I know the answer to this. I'm very excited about this. Are you doing Rockford?
I am not. So I was going to do, I know. I wanted to because it's so close, but I was planning on doing Des Moines this year, but I'm doing Carmel Marathon and then Berlin, and then I'm going to do Chicago. So I've kind of shifted focus this year for more running. So I'm going to do a couple of sprints and Olympics that are local. But Rockford seems like it would be an amazing race. It's down the street, first year for it. So a lot of people are going to do it. So I'll probably go out there and support and cheer and see what the course is like and get some feedback, and then probably most likely sign up for it next year. I mean, it's down the road.
Remind me when that is.
I want to say it's the first weekend in June. It's early June.
I mean, because I think I did kind of assume that you were going to say yes. I do know I know a couple of other people that have already signed up, and I am looking forward to actually going because I think that's obviously as close as we're going to get to being. It's closer for spectating purposes.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, a lot of the mid races. I mean, Des Moines has one. There's Ohio. There's Muncie in Indiana, and there's some in Wisconsin. But there's really nothing in Illinois. There's some down south, but they're not really Ironman branded. Not that that's a big deal or not, but to have an Ironman branded race come so close to where we live, it's fantastic for everybody.
Did you really do the try? Did it say Ironman?
Okay. Yeah. Did you get the tattoo or not?
Do you have the tattoo?
I do not have the tattoo, and I pondered it after my first Ironman, but just haven't bit the bullet. And I probably won't do it. If I do get a tattoo, it'll be family related, but no Ironman brand on me.
Okay, so what are your next races then? You're doing.
I have a half marathon in a few weeks up in Waukesha. So I'll do that. And then, yes, it's called the First Call. They have a 5K, a 10K, and a half.
With Circle events, Silver Circle events.
I think so, yeah.
I did First Call. In 2021. I did the 5K.
All right. I've done it the past 2 years, and it's probably one of my favorite halves. I mean, it's a good way to kick off the season. I'm over doing March Madness. I've done that enough times, and so I'm ready.
And they do a great race.
It's phenomenal.
That company does excellent races.
Yeah, it's great. Well supported. A lot of spectators. Roads are closed. The path is usually paved, so and it's not too far of a drive. So I'll kick my season off with that, and then I'll do Carmel, and then June, July, a couple of tries, then Berlin and Chicago, and then I'm sure I'll throw some other things in there, but those are the races I have signed up for.
Okay, so let's put it out in the air. What goals do we have?
For the half, I want to break probably 124.
Okay, you got it. I can't do the math.
Hour 24 minutes, so I want to hold like a 6:30 pace, a little bit faster than that. For Carmel, the goal is 3 hours, so 6:50, 6:55 pace. That's what I'm aiming for. I just missed qualifying for Boston in November. I did a 3:05, which is my fastest, but they switched the qualifying time, so yeah, I would have had it for this year, but I've got to see if I can qualify for next year.
What's your time now that you have to get to qualify?
I need a 3:05, but I think with like all the people that do that, you need to be at least 6 minutes faster. So I'm aiming for 3 hours if possible, God willing. And if that doesn't happen, I'll aim for that in Berlin since that's pretty flat and fast. So the goal this whole year is to qualify for Boston for next year.
So how many? Now I'm like, how many stars do you have right now?
Just the one. Just in Chicago. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I've done Chicago one time. Yeah.
Is your goal to get all?
That has not crossed my mind, but now that I'm doing Chicago and Berlin, I'm like, if I get into Boston, I might as well just keep the train rolling and see what happens. I mean, I've always done shorter races. I think I'm built better for 10Ks, but seeing my mom doing what she does, and a lot of the people from Fast Track doing marathons and crushing them, it's kind of motivated me to kind of try and qualify and get better at longer distances instead of
Well, that's the
having
whole
to
idea
swim
of
and
the
bike
group.
before it.
That's the whole idea of the group, is to propel you forward.
Yeah, yeah. Which everybody motivates me to get better every day, which is awesome. I see everybody's Stravas, I see their runs. I'm like, oh man, everybody's getting after it. I love it. So
As I say, and I've said in the past, as I sit back and I'm just watching all of you and enjoying watching all of you, because spectating is actually a fantastic sport.
it is. It is. That's probably one of my favorite things to do. Like if I see Audrey or my mom sign up for a race, I love going out there and screaming my guts out and cheering them on and cheering everybody out from
Mm-hmm.
fast people to the middle of the pack to the last stragglers coming through. I think everybody who's out there deserves to get cheered on. They're out there for a reason, whether it's trying to PR or they're doing it for a parent that passed away or they want to just get out there and better their lives. I think it's amazing. I think running and doing tries is one of the best ways to just kind of build your fitness and build your healthy lifestyle. And I'm supportive of everybody who does that.
How did you and your mom end up with Fast Track?
Actually, a lot of the Alpiners kind of hop back and forth, and we started going to the track workouts because nobody locally did speed work, and they recommended coming up to Harper, and we've kind of just stuck with it. And like Fast Track's been a godsend. I mean, everybody's welcoming. There's different speeds. There's no judging. It's a fantastic group, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a part of it, but generally, if I were an outsider and I just showed up like on a random Wednesday, I would feel welcome and not stressed out or overwhelmed with what's happening.
Well, I credit that to a lot of the people that we have, and for me, that includes people like you, because again, very welcoming.
Yep.
When it comes to like abilities and all of that, you and I, we're on fairly different ends of the spectrum. So I'm watching you all run around, and it's great, and I'm just toddling along the other way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
Right.
That doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Everybody's still
You're
out
there.
there.
You're showing up. That's what it's all about. It doesn't matter your pace or how many miles you're doing. You're there with a great group and camaraderie and motivation. So I wouldn't
That's
worry
right.
about. Yeah.
And
That's
and
what I try
then
to tell people when they ask about joining different groups or different teams. I'm like, you got to find the group that works for you. If you want to join a group that's super intense and you're going to do it for a couple of days and feel overwhelmed and intimidated by everything, you're going to end up hating it. You're going to quit. But if you join a group where everybody's on the same page with goals and just want to have fun and be a little bit competitive on the side, then that's what you should join.
I credit that again, not only to the people, but I will tell you that the fastest of the fast that we have, and we all know who they are,
Yep.
are also the best of the best of the best when it comes to being inclusive, being supportive. Nobody walks around like they're better than anybody else. Everybody is welcoming. We had a fast tracker do, God, what did he do? A 2:37 marathon. I think Dan did 2:37, and then Sebastian did 2:36.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
But these are the nicest people in the world.
And everybody's super humble and never brag or anything, and that's what I love about the group. I mean, I'm never going to do a 2:36, but Sebastian and those guys are amazing people to just talk with. I mean, that's where I like going. You can just chit chat about it, anything you want, and they're just as normal and cool as they want to be.
And I can't wait for a week from Wednesday when track opens, because track to me is the ultimate way to be included in fast track, because do your own thing.
Yeah. Just show up and do as much or as little as you want, as fast or as slow as you want. Nobody cares.
You don't want to do the thousands? Don't do the thousands.
Yeah.
That's the worst workout. But if you don't want to do it,
yeah, you don't have to. There's no pressure. I mean, there's no expectations. You just do what you want.
Do it. All right, I'm gonna throw. Okay, this is actually Marty's hot take.
All right, let's have it.
So, he claims that Apple is superior to Garmin.
I would
Ooh,
say
yeah.
Garmin's a little better. I mean, both watches have their benefits. Apple,
Ooh, wait, we got a head shake on that one.
yeah, I think if you want better data, I would go with the Garmin. Any range of Garmin. I run with the Garmin. I've tried running with my Apple Watch and a Garmin on the other wrist. The data that Garmin spits out more detailed, and I think it's easier to read. Apple, it's just, I wouldn't say mushy, but it's not as detailed and in depth as a runner or somebody who wants all that feedback should get. Sorry, Marty.
I'm laughing because I actually sold my Garmin, but I prefer Garmin.
Yeah.
And he is an Apple Watch user.
Yeah.
And I think he's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, with my Garmin, I look at my heart rate data pretty religiously, and I can connect a heart rate strap. With the Apple, granted, I'm wearing one right now, but the heart rate variability is a little different when you're running. So having that option to have the heart rate strap for me, for running and tries, it's a game changer on my end.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's comparing, because when he said it, it's like using Apple for just running. But when we're talking about adding in the tri,
Yeah.
I don't think you can make a case for Apple versus Garmin there.
No. So Garmin it is for me for tries and running.
Yeah.
Everyday lifestyle, Apple Watch is perfect. If I want to do an EKG on myself randomly. So.
Yeah, I got rid of both my Apple and my Garmin. That was freeing.
Yeah.
Freeing.
It is, yeah.
All right, next hot take. You will never be a successful runner if you refuse to run in the rain.
False. I think you got to embrace the rain, the snow, hot, cold. Rain, it's a different mentality. For me, running the rain's kind of peaceful. It's just getting out the door. I mean, once you're wet, you're wet. Just keep going. It's not going to make or break any races. You might speed up because you want to get done faster, or you might slow down because you might enjoy it. I mean, I love running in the rain, honestly. I mean, unless it's like a complete downpour, but it's not going to make or break your session or anything.
I do like running in the rain, but I like it when it's like a cool mist.
Yeah.
Where there are some people who prefer it to be like a full on downpour.
I don't mind the downpour. I mean, if it starts as a mist and then I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna keep going. I've had this happen when I was in Barrington a few times. It's cloudy, starts to rain, it's misting, then starts gradually picking up, and I'm out 10 miles away from my car and it's downpouring. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Just stop? So I mean, it bothers you for a little bit, but then you just soaked and you just have to kind of get through it and deal with it. But running the rain's not a big deal.
I have to say that when I used to run, because I'm going to say that for now, if there was a chance of weather, I would be running in circles, just around the block.
Yeah.
Because as soon as it would start,
yeah,
you gotta go inside.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I risk it. I live on the edge.
Okay. All right. The last hot take, and I completely agree with this. Mass participation events are not fun. Being in a noisy crowd is the opposite of enjoyable running.
Mass participation events.
So, like, the Chicago Marathon.
Oh man, I'm gonna get a lot of people upset with me, but this is my personal opinion. I mean, I am all for everybody running marathons. We'll stick with Chicago. I'm glad they had such a big crowd the past few years, but I'm honestly glad that it's reduced in size. They've reduced the limit. They've installed time limits. I think it's turned into such an event where anybody just kind of shows up and does whatever and gets in the way of people that are actually trying to run the race, and I'm not that person that gets mad at that. Like I said, I'm supportive of all people, but there needs to be some kind of limit on qualifications or quantity of people doing it, or either spread it out over a couple days or something like that. I mean, with Ironman, there's a strict sign up limit. There's a cutoff. If you don't make certain times on the swim, the bike, or the run, they're pulling you off the course. And I know they have that with the marathon, but having tens of thousands of people on crowded streets at different paces, it's kind of extreme and honestly dangerous.
Well, I agree.
Don't hate me, people. I'm sorry.
No, I see. I agree, but one of the comments you make is one of the issues I have. My hot take. Um, so when it comes to the world majors, I have a distaste for them, and what you're pointing out is kind of exactly why. I mean, I know so many people who are, trying to earn. It could be their second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever.
Yeah.
And every single year they get the rejection letter. Every single year they get the rejection letter. Oh, but
Yeah.
you can do it if you raise $15,000-$20,000 for charity.
Yeah.
And so it's not for me to say why somebody is doing that or why they don't, why they want to or why they don't. That is not no.
Yeah.
But I think the way it's designed, especially now, adding Australia.
Yeah.
If they turn that into like a real seventh, to me, then it's more for the wealthy. Because the average person can't do it.
Yeah. Signing up for marathons and even like Ironman races, it's an expensive sport on either end. Running, you got to get your shoes, your kit, race fees, traveling, tries. You got to get stuff for 3 different sports. I mean, wetsuits are expensive, bikes are expensive depending on what you're doing, and then shoes. I mean, everything really adds up, and I think a lot of sports in general are trending towards the wealthy, and that's not really why I got into the sport. And I think we need to figure out a way to be more inclusive, whether that's adding more races that are local or less elite as the 7 stars for all the marathons. But it's an investment. It's not something that you kind of take lightly. And I was just going to sign up for a race every weekend. I mean, that can balloon. Some people do it, but it's expensive. And I'll be the first one to say it's a pain looking at registration fees. I'm like, I'm paying X amount to do 3 sports for 4 to 5 hours.
How much is like an Ironman? How much would you pay to do Ironman? I don't know.
$700, and that's just the fee. It's insane. And for what you get, I mean, I think about this every time I sign up for something. I'm like, what am I getting out of this besides a workout? I mean, I might get a backpack or some stickers or some gear, but I mean, traveling to Madison or anywhere, you got to get a hotel. You're there for a few days. You're bringing your family. You got to eat out. You got to bring things. It's a lot.
All right. Thank you for participating in the Hot Takes Wheel. I'm glad that 3 came up that you really had to pause.
Yeah.
And come up with, because as I'm realizing, some of them are definitely hot takes for one person, whereas for somebody else, it's I don't understand. I'm seeing that. All right, KJ, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, this was a blast. I'm glad I was finally able to get on here. Like, kids are coming down.
We haven't asked you that many times.
I love it. Yeah, this is great. I love what you're doing. I've heard great feedback from everybody, so it's been a privilege to be a part of this. So hopefully we can come back on with my mom or something down the road.
I would love that. And we got some other things coming up this season that we're going to try bringing some people back for that are going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yeah. Thanks. Talk to you guys later.